Hello and welcome to Bad Anime Sunday, ladies and gents. You've probably noticed that you've got a different intro guy this time, and that's because my usual co-host Paul is off sick this week, I'm afraid, which I think is an excuse just to skip out on what might be the worst film we've seen since Diabolik Lovers. I know that's not a film, but hey-ho. So, to replace Paul is my temporary co-host for today. Hopefully he'll be back later on. It is one and only Jake. How you doing, man?
I'm not happy to be here, but whatever. Let's go for it.
Oh, dear. Yeah. Jake was telling me that he wasn't quite sure whether or not how professional we were, so he was thinking, how many notes do I need to write down? What kind of commentary do I have to make? And he told me that his notes mostly just consist of why and what's going on. So that should give you some indication as to the sheer levels of madness we are diving into.
I do have a couple of interesting points written down, especially some points that might not necessarily be bad. I mean, the movie the movie itself, I think overall was just an awful mess of a movie with no plot whatsoever. However, there were a couple things that might have saved it in the very end that made it somewhat passable.
Yep, I think that's the opinion most people have of the movie. So, we'll just briefly summarize the plot as it is, if you can call it that. Ling Xiaoyu, who you might remember as that Chinese girl from Tekken, she's basically drafted in to become a spy for the for G Corporation. Which
is a great decision on G Corporation.
Yeah, who would ever suspect the young underage Chinese schoolgirl? It's the perfect...
Maybe the young underage secret agent from the other corporation.
Ah, yes, indeed. For you see, this Tekken movie is not so much about martial arts or the fate of the world. It's about two teenaged girl spies spying on the same brooding, whining, emo douchebag.
I would say take out douchebag and insert fucking creep.
That is probably a better assessment of his character.
He is such a creep. I swear to God, like, every scene that he's in is the creepiest thing. And it might be just the lip flaps, the English lip flaps or something like that, but just the way that he was portrayed, it is the creepiest character I have ever seen in my entire life.
Really? And
yes.
Why is that, would you say?
What about the dude who was in his shower for no apparent reason?
Yeah.
And that he knew who was in his shower, that he talked to and openly conversed with and said absolutely nothing about being in the shower with him. What about that?
That's a good point, actually. The thing that I don't get about him is this guy's his timeline doesn't work with the Tekken timeline, like, at all.
There's a Tekken timeline. I kind of clocked out at Tekken 4, man. The plot is really confusing.
Yeah, this is another Blaze Blue, people. We're gearing up for another stupid. Well, basically, there's kind of the first two games are within the same time span, roughly. And then there's the most recent three, most recent four, which have been, 20 years later, all about Kazuya's son, Jin, who is, I think he's meant to be...
Hold up. Not Jin. Gene.
Sorry, I'm terrible with pronunciations.
There you go. So you got to get it right. The localization team was correct with their correct pronunciation.
Wait, do you mean that the announcer in Tekken 3 was wrong?
I think we should just call him Gene Simmons for the rest of
the
review. So Gene Simmons and his
emo friend were at school together. But
Sheen from Jimmy Neutron.
Oh god, I never actually saw that movie, but I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
But
so wait, is it Sheen as in SEAN or SHEEN? Because I didn't actually see the name ever written down. They just called him Sheen.
I think it's SHIN.
Oh,
because that would be
Japanese. So it'd be Shin then. What the? movie, why?
Yeah, expect a lot of this, people. But the thing that gets me is Shin is still in high school, whereas Gene Simmons is running the Mishima Zaibatsu. But that would make they were in the same class, so that would make them in their 20s.
No,
but
Jin is running G Corp. It's Kazuya who's running.
No,
Mishima
it's the other way around because G Corp found Kazuya in Tekken 4.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
But here's the thing: if they're both 20-something, why is Shin still in high school?
I think they kind of very briefly went into depth about how Shin's body is immortal and he can't really like die or anything like that.
No. That's the answer to a different question because this only recently happened. So if he's 20-something, even if he still does look like 17, 16, like he must have gone through the usual channels. This guy can't have been immortal for the last 4 years of his life because people would ask too many questions. So,
especially how he's jumping off building every 2 seconds.
So why is he at a high school? Did he not graduate? Did he just like fail a few years? Or no, actually, I actually know exactly why he's still in high school.
Okay.
It's because if he wasn't in high school, we couldn't have a torturously stupid anime Twilight romance triangle.
Yay! That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Oh my goodness. It's not even cute. It's not even like endearing. Like sometimes when you have romance triangles like this or like some kind of love triangle, each party, in this case the party being Zhao Yu and
a robot.
The robot. Okay, let's just go. She's a robot, guys. She's a robot.
Spoiler.
Big spoiler. She's Christina V-Bot.
Which I think is hilarious because once again, Christina V is playing an airheaded robot girl who can destroy the world.
And I've heard Christina V be very good in other roles and stuff like that. I think this is when she had this role when she was a little bit. I mean, when did this movie come out? Like 2012.
Well, you see, the thing is, I think so. But the thing is, I struggle. I know that this is an early role, but I struggle to see how Alyssa's character could have been any more endearing in the original Japanese. She is.
I mean, things get lost in translation, but
as a character, she's like the amalgamation of every Moe Blob nightmare as it is.
I believe I have written down. Okay, here it is. Yo, this robot dumb as shit. Yo, this pink-haired robot. Holy shit, this robot, man. It is like half the time you don't expect the robot to actually do something until the robot actually turns into a robot, and then you're just like, oh, okay, things are actually getting real. They're starting to move on with whatever this mess of a plot is.
Like what?
Hopefully we can get away from this stupid love triangle, because it is the most ridiculous thing on the face of the earth. I believe there's one line that Alyssa actually says, something about being love rivals with Zhao Yu, and it is like it's supposed to be taken as like, oh, they're cute, they're best friends, oh, they're so nice to each other.
I mean, they've become so close in the 2 minutes of screen time they shared up till this point.
That line that Alyssa said, I was like, this is not cute. This is really creepy and kind of fucked up. Like, what is going on with this? I don't understand. What are they doing with this script, with this plot? This is so,
Yep. And do you know what the best part is?
What?
I actually Googled this film while I was looking for... I had to Google this film because I'd been recommended it. I had no idea, like, I didn't know anything about this film. And apparently, the director wanted to make a Tekken movie that everyone, even non-fans, could understand and enjoy. So, instead of focusing on martial arts...
Okay.
They thought that the thing we would all understand would be a robot, immortal schoolgirl love triangle.
With an already somewhat established Tekken canon. Because they already had stuff established before the movie even started.
Like, Lee is a school teacher.
Why? Every appearance of Lee in this movie can be summarized with 2 words. Ready for it? Oh, Lee.
Oh, Lee, indeed. I was afraid you were going to...
Lee, I was afraid
you were going to say, oh, excellent.
No.
Because this guy repeats the phrase, "Oh, excellent," over and
There's that,
over
yeah,
and over again. And I remind you, in the first Tekken movie that Paul and I saw, Lee was the guy who was devoted to hard, rational science, who was obsessed with wiping out the ancient voodoo of Tekken and bringing in such intelligent breakthroughs into the world, like invisible dinosaurs. I am so not even kidding. This was Lee's character in the last movie. He was.
If he had that motivation in this movie, it'd be good. But he has no point in this movie whatsoever. He's just kind of there.
And he has a mansion.
I know he's trying to be comic relief a little bit, but it's not working, Lee. It's not working.
Why does he teach high school kids if he has a mansion? Why do you need? Why do you need the money?
Kid. He's got one person in his class, high school kid.
Oh God, that was. That wasn't even. It wasn't even funny in its failure to be funny.
It was a stretch. They just kind of like grasping at what other Tekken character can we establish in this movie?
We've already put Ganju as a PE teacher, so who else?
I'm gonna get back to that point. I got a whole deal with that right there. But with Lee, like, it's basically the production team. Here they are. It's coming down to crunch time. They got like 2 weeks to finish this movie. They're just like, oh shit. Who else can we put in this movie that's from Tekken? Lee. Oh, well, there's no police in this movie. What are we gonna do? Fucking make him the school teacher. Okay. All right. Good job. Okay, A+. You are getting a raise, my friend. You are getting a raise. And it's just like, why?
Because
yeah.
I don't even have a sarcastic response to that. That's how flabbergasted I am to see Lee as a school teacher.
Yeah. Anyway, to finish off what you were saying about the kind of basic plot of the story, after the two schoolgirls meet up, the two schoolgirl spies meet up, and they fawn over the emo protagonist with the MacGuffin arm that he's got. They eventually get caught by both their organizations, Zaibatsu and G-Corp, and some fights happen, some actually, nice choreographed fights, mind you. And then finally they get to the end of the movie where the real fight begins, and a certain character shows up that I was very happy to finally see in this movie.
I think we can spoiler it. We don't really have spoilers on this show.
All right, that's good. Okay, all right, I guess I've already been cursing. Motherfucking Heihachi.
Yep.
I knew he was coming. Okay, so in the beginning of the movie, they hyped up Heihachi as the principal of the school / she was also dead, and that's just like, okay, we're not going to see Heihachi in this movie. That's fine. I mean, he's only the prime character in Tekken, like the number one character that people want to see in Tekken.
Yeah. And then he appears,
and it is glorious.
Honestly, you know what I thought? The climax between Gene Simmons, Kazuya, and Heihachi was some of the dumbest shit I'd ever seen in my life, and this is why.
It was pretty dumb.
Okay.
But it was also pretty awesome at the same time.
It was okay, I do admit it was kind of a cool entrance, but one wonders why. I mean, I asked this in the last Tekken movie. Heihachi's whole point to turning Shin into a genetic abomination who's immortal was to lure out Jin and Kazuya to fight them. That's it. And it's not even like Heihachi wants immortality. I mean, he says, I don't care about this science research. You know, I just pretty much did it just to lure you guys out here. But like I said in the last review, literally phone them up, ask them to come to your house and have a brawl. They don't need any other reason to want to kill you. You threw one of them off a cliff and shot another of them in the face. Like, revenge has been their defining character trait for, I don't know, ever since game one. Why does he need to go through all this trouble to bring them all together?
It does seem a little out of his way, but I believe that it was all worth it in the end. And by worth it, I mean unnecessary in every sense of the word. And I will tell you exactly why.
Oh, yeah?
So in this big fight, obviously, Kazuya uses his devil gene, and Jin also uses his devil gene in order to transform into the big, huge, scary monster
And
fight.
we get Satan Ball Z.
Yes, we do. However, there is a line that Jin has during that fight, and he says, "I have learned to control it."
What?
The way that he says it hints that he has already had this power and he is already known to control his devil gene before he was even fighting Kazuya and Heihachi, and before he was even looking for Shin, excuse me. Then why the fuck, Jin, were you even a part of this fucking movie?
Well, I think it's because he wants to wipe out the Mishima bloodline so the devil gene can never be a thing again. No, that doesn't make sense because his goal was to get Shin because of the science thing. Why did he want Shin anyway?
I don't know. I know why Kazuya wanted Jin, or Shin. I know why Kazuya wanted Shin is because Kazuya wanted to control his devil gene, which he did. He was able to control it, and he was a fucking badass because he would just like stand up to punches. He'd he was wasting them. And then as soon
because
as
it's Kazuya,
as Jin
does he really need an
transformed into his
excuse to
thing-
be a dick anyway? I mean,
No, he doesn't. By the way, who voiced Kazuya in this? This kind of sounded like Kyle Bear, but I wasn't sure.
I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, obviously we could just IMDb it, but I don't know. I mean, it was okay. And Heihachi, I think he was voiced by Jameson
Price.
Yeah.
The American Brian Blessed. Honest.
Oh my god, that's perfect.
I know. Honest to God. This movie was dumb, but I have a confession to make.
All right, make it.
I kind of like it. Because
See, that's okay.
it's so bad. I have so much. It's like the last Tekken movie I said, I kind of enjoy it because it was made by stupid people. Like, I try not to insult people's intelligence, but the first Tekken film, it was actually made by people who were legitimately thoroughly dumb, and they thought they were being smart. This was a movie that was very, very similar. It was clearly made by people who might have heard of a story in passing or legend, but had never actually read a script or a book, and have no idea how character or motivation or anything works. And so events just happen because they need to happen.
They did read a little bit because some of these parts, some of these plot lines, and some of these scenes that happened towards the end were so cliched. It made me sick to my stomach how cliched they were. It's
And
like
that's
as
the sad thing.
soon as Heihachi broke the robot in half in the big fight, right? As soon as Heihachi did that, I'm like, oh, robot's gonna come back to life. Robot's gonna come back to life.
Yeah, you're just
And
waiting
here I am,
for
I'm
it.
like, I have the notes right here saying, when is the robot coming back to life? Taking a long time for the robot to come back to life. Robot needs to come back to life and do a rocket punch that she foreshadowed earlier. And then it
happened.
It's not like, a random spark. It's not like a random, jolt. It's not like a line that Zhao Wei has. It's her tear. She cries, and the cry of her true BFF friendship that they have shared so many times with brought Alyssa back to life from the depths of wherever she was.
It kind of makes you wonder if we're actually in the Pokemon universe.
Hey, that's an emotional part for me, and I don't want to bring that up right now, okay? that brings up some emotions.
Oh, but no, seriously, like the other, like first of all, this movie's so bad. It was on. I honestly kind of enjoyed it because it was just too bad. Also,
I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it for a couple of different reasons.
Okay, but just really quickly, the other thing that I think I actually kind of honestly enjoyed: Giant Mokujin Devil God Heihachi.
That is true.
Voiced
I'm a
by
little disappointed,
Jameson
though.
Price.
Yes, I am a little sad that the giant Mokujin wasn't he wasn't a giant Heihachi in himself.
I know.
It was just like a giant monster. If the face was Heihachi's face, I think that would make the movie 100 zillion times better.
I know, right? Like, the thing that I love is that, okay, long story short, Heihachi finds a magic box that turns all of the Mokujin in the forest into a giant, like, it's like a giant robot god, but made of wood that he controls.
He found the Deus Ex.
He found the Deus Ex Machina, which had no foreshadowing.
One line. Actually, no, 2 lines. It was foreshadowing when Alyssa brought out the little ticket for the date, saying, "Hey, we should go to this."
But that doesn't explain why he's got the Ark of the Covenant and how it's able to turn him into a giant wood god.
There was absolutely no information given saying that there is a magical box at the bottom of this exhibit saying, "Hey, if you open this box, you can control all the Mokuji."
But the best part for me is that the Mokujin tell him, "Listen well, Heihachi, we Mokujin have decided that we actually like humans because of the bonds between humanity. But the only relationship we've seen is between a robot and a human. So it's not... So, like, are we just forgetting the robot? I mean...
it's Pinocchio's story, kind of like... It's like the
or
writers
Mother Nature is a racist.
Exactly... Yeah, the writers weren't sure exactly how to, like, tie everything together, so they just kind of, like, had a bunch of, like, unresolved plot lines, and they're just like, fuck it.
Yeah. and then, just to put the icing on the cake, Heihachi, Super Devil Wood God, is defeated by the schoolgirl's rocket punch. And you just think, if Gene's people could always develop these, why did they not build an army of them and just like... that's another point that I brought up as well. Brought down pretty easily by that frail little rocket punch. Yeah. And also, how is she storing all of this in her arms? She's got she has chainsaws and she has rocket launchers and a jetpack. And yet, in terms of her build, she's basically a stick. So how is she storing all of these things? Does she just have a black hole in her chest or something?
Unsure, but I can tell you one thing for sure.
Yep.
Those chainsaw arms are actually pretty cool.
They were, but...
Why she didn't use them in every single fight that she was in after it was established that she was a robot, I don't know. But that's another plot line that they should have brought back up.
So I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
So I want to...
Yeah, go on.
If it's all right with you, I want to go back to a point that we made a little bit
Go
earlier. On. We have neglected to talk about Nina and Anna.
Oh, you mean the C plot that didn't go anywhere?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Weren't they supposed to be on the same side?
I don't. Well, I think they meant to always hate each other.
I remember them being on the same side where you have to fight both of them. Then again, the last Tekken game that I played all the way through was Tekken 2 on my PlayStation.
Since then, they've kind of decided that they hate each other and want to kill each other because fighting game logic.
So back to Anna or whatever however you want to pronounce it.
I think Anna is the one from the terrible Disney film. Oh, and now everyone wants to kill me.
Just let it go, man. It's not worth it. Topical. Anyway, Anna brings Zhao Yu, is it? Yeah. She brings the little Chinese schoolgirl, and there's one line very early in this movie that literally made me pause the movie and just kind of
do a double take,
write out a little rant and just almost yell at my computer screen. Anna says to Zhao Yu, excuse me, that you are perfect for being a spy.
Oh.
Okay. Here's my gripe with that. The movie had already established that not only is that girl one of the dumbest people in her school, constantly late, and has racked up a $300,000 bill for all the damages for her PE class. That does not sound like a good spy to me. That sounds like she's gonna stand out like a robot in a high school.
Well, I don't know. I mean, James Bond causes a ridiculous amount of property damage, and yet MI6 still keeps hiring him.
I mean, I'm not one for ruling an evil corporation like G Corp, but you got to give a little bit more background on a character than just showing one picture on a screen, cutting to the scene where she's late and saying, "Oh, yep, she's perfect. Boom, she is perfect." And
I really hope that's actually how G Corp does business. Like, that's how they hire people. So, how do we hire our new scientist? Quick Google search. That guy. You've just pointed at a mongoose. I know.
Anna will come up to the...
He'll be even better than the boxing kangaroo.
Screen. She'll snap her fingers. And
how does that even work?
Is the computer sound activated? Is there a special remote sensor in a finger? How hard do you have to snap to trigger it? And why do you not just use a damn remote? Like, why do you have to snap? And it's not that she doesn't just do it once. She does it like 4 or 5 times to bring up all the new files. Like, how is she doing that?
Plot convenience.
Oh my god. Okay. I just... And like the whole like academy that she's supposed to, the Chinese schoolgirl's supposed to go to, Anna says a line saying that, hey, this is like for the best and brightest of all Tokyo or something like that. And it's, why are you sending one of the dumbest students in that entire school to a Tokyo academy that is supposed to take a bunch of smart people? Don't you think she'll stick out? Isn't that like rule number 1 when trying to spy on someone or sending a spy on an espionage mission? It's like you want to make sure that spy will never get uncovered, yet you send her in anyway, and the first thing she does is blow her fucking cover at the robot girl.
Oh, come on. This is clearly just how Kazuya gets his kicks. Like, clearly, this is just what he does for fun, relocating people to entirely unfitting locations for no other reason than just shits and giggles.
Also Panda.
And Panda.
And Panda named Panda. Like,
why does she have a panda?
Well, she's Chinese, so she's got to have something to,
No. That's the answer to
a little gray area.
That's the answer to a different question. Why does she have a panda in a school?
No, she parks the panda with all the
Why
bikes.
does she have a panda? I'm not getting over this.
Her parking was actually not too bad.
Why does she have a panda? Like, can you imagine just going to school with this girl and she gets to school every day just by riding on a panda that can reach Mach 2? And no one has any questions about this. No one says.
I don't see any problem. I don't see any problem with it. I think it's perfectly logical.
I guess it is logical for a movie that, sends underage schoolgirls to be spies. I guess logic left the building.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There were a lot of low points in this movie.
Oh yeah.
And there should have been more low points, to be honest, because this movie was absolutely horrible. They even ripped off The Matrix at one part as well.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
Yes, I can.
It's right when what part is it? Is it when it's the fight between Jin, Kazuya, and Heihachi?
Yeah.
And Jin is just absolutely not Jin. Kazuya is absolutely wrecking Jin. And then Jin has this little like moment where he looks up and then his eyes kind of like twinkle for a second and then he starts just kicking the crap out of Kazuya. I'm just like, oh, so it's like The Matrix then.
Yep.
And he literally, as soon as I think about that, he slams Kazuya against the wall and starts punching him, just like freaking Neo and Agent Smith. And I was like, oh, it's the goddamn Matrix. They just ripped off The Matrix. I mean, that's not uncommon to do because a lot of movies try to do that to boost their popularity. But I mean, come on. Oh God, it's so bad. It's so bad. You got a creepy Bishonen guy with this MacGuffin arm that does absolutely nothing for the plot, and the movie literally is just here to hype up the end fight between the three Mishinas, and that's it.
And that's it.
I'm going to end off with, oh, Lee, you bastard. Why are you in this movie?
Yeah.
Save yourself while you still get the chance.
Oh, dear. But, yeah, even though this was a pretty terrible movie and just... every way, shape, and form, I can't hate it. It's too bad. This is not the Room of anime, but it's pretty close.
I'm gonna give the movie overall. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Because there are some good parts in it, and I will firmly believe that the animation was gorgeous.
The animation wasn't too
tell
bad.
That you can tell that the animators spent a lot of time on this, which is really sad because the movie is really bad, and you're just like, oh, these guys spent so much time rendering all this stuff. Look at the backgrounds, look at these fight scenes, look at the choreography. It is beautiful.
And it's just a shame.
But the movie is so bad.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, man. So, I go 5 out of 10. What about you?
Oh, we generally don't really give review scores, but I think I would probably have to give mine closer to a 3. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it because it is just that bad, but this is not a good movie.
And even I thought I was being harsh with the 5 out of 10.
You're talking to a guy who gave Final Fantasy VII a literal 7. Like, I'm a harsh critic by nature.
No, trust me, I agree with you with the Final Fantasy VII whole thing.
F5s.
I'm not... Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so Tekken Blood Vengeance, not a good film.
Shite.
Don't go see it, please.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't check it out.
Absolutely shit. Never watch it. Unless you want, like...
Unless you're drunk.
Unless you are very drunk and want to get a good laugh out of how bad, if you're in like a theater class and you want to know what bad cliched scripting really is, you can either watch The Room or you can watch this movie.
Yep, or both.
Or both. That would be a great night.
So I think that's it for Tekken Blood Vengeance. This was the end of Fighting Game February. I think it's only fair that, Tekken was how we began and ended. I have no idea what our next thing will be, but we do have a request from Jasmine Carbonell to look at the Tales of Zestiria anime. So that might be next. I can't make any promises, but, it might well be. So until next time, guys, take care.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, Jake. Bye-bye.
Bye.